Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is the Democratic hoax with the Jeffrey Epstein thing regarding to Trump. And this has only severely hurt the Democratic Party. Because what we have here is that we have Democrats going out and trying to frame Trump for being part of Epstein, or rather, or more along the lines of having relations with young women, when this is just not the case here. So that being said, we're all going to be talking about it. But first thing we're going to do is, she got schooled on CNN after lying about the whole Jeffrey Epstein case. And even when you were on CNN, like if you're on CNN and you're not winning over CNN and you're a Democrat, you know you're failing something absolutely horrible. So this has just been a massive backfire for Democrats, and it's not even funny. So without further ado, here's Jasmine Cratchit hanging herself.
Email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
You gotta love it. You got to love it. So again, what we have here is lying. She just got schooled by CNN. CNN, of all people, of all news organizations, schooled Jasmine Crockett on this. And it's like they expect to go to these news outlets to try to get a little bit more sympathy and all that, but it's just not the case. They're just not getting the sympathy that they're getting. And this is what happens when you actually have decent journalism and you criticize and go on the attack on people and their ideas of what they're doing. So it is not good here, right? Jasmine Crockett got caught out in a lie, and it seems like this has gone to a complete backfire because now even Hillary Clinton is in the mix. We have this here where it says that from Jeffrey Epstein to Michael Wolff, importance high. It says Nosbaum White House counsel Hillary doing naughties with Vince. So what's the thumbnail on Nosbaum and Foster? So it is not looking good with sexual relationship with the former attorney and White House counsel Vince Foster. So so Foster removed himself in 1993. So I wonder what that is. Why did Foster just stop being a part of this world in 1993? Well, Hillary Clinton probably, did something to remove the guy, right? So now this is all turning on the Democrats here. It is not being of greatness to them. And here's the Democrats straight up lying, where the Democrats were quite obviously what they're doing here is that you see this here. You have this here where you have, this is what it shows right here. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned police chief, 75% there. Now, this is what you have here. Here's the redacted part of Hillary Clinton, of what the Democrats released, and then here's the non-redacted of what it is here, right? So it's quite obvious on what the Democrats are doing here. They're trying to do a play here to shame Trump, to say Trump is doing this, all this, that, and it's failing miserably for them. Now, don't get me wrong. I have said this before, where I do not like what Trump's doing in terms of the 600,000 Chinese with the H-1B visas. I think that's insane. That does not need to happen. We have it to where we have Democrats going to where he was going with the mortgages, the 50% mortgages or 50-year mortgages for that. I don't really agree with that there, and I don't really agree with the 2,000 checks to the people either. So I have disagreements with what Trump is doing here, and it's a problem. I have my criticisms and I have my issues with that. However, that does not mean what the Democrats are doing here is correct. And we have this here where this is why Democrats hid the name of the victim in the Epstein emails. It was Virginia Joffrey, I believe. This is her testimony exonerating President Trump. It says here, Jeffrey's presence with one another. It goes, answer, no. What is this basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey's? Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you never observed them together. No, not that I can actually remember. And the one is, not on the top of my head, no. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Trump at Jeffrey's home? Not that I can remember. So obviously here, the Democrats are failing in every sector of the imagine here. This is a hoax that has gone completely backfired on them. And we have this here where CNN exonerates President Trump of any wrongdoing in the Epstein hoax. Look at Representative Yasmin Asnari and her wretched face at the end. She looks so deflated by the disclaimer. So let's look.
That mentioned the president. And we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House that mentioned.
Yep. So look at this. This is the face of defeat. This is the fate of, oh man, I'm done. I'm cooked, right? So this is not looking great. Like, this is absolutely terrible. And then you have this here to where it gets even worse. So we have Trump SF writer Michael Wolff encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail the presidential candidate Donald Trump. And this is what it says here. So it says here, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that, when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. It goes on to say here, if we are able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? He says, I hear CNN is planning, which is Michael Wolff again, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, cider on air or in Scrum afterwards. So, I don't know about you guys, but that seems pretty bad. It seems like Michael Wolff was trying to work with Jeffrey Epstein here. Like it says from Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't know about you guys, but this is not good. This has completely backfired on them. And let's watch Melanie Stansbury squirm and try to pivot away from this as a thing when it's just backfiring all over their face. It's so hilarious to see.
Thank you so much for being with us. What are you taking from these emails?
Yeah, I mean, these emails are clearly extraordinarily explosive. They implicate the president, that he not only knew what was happening in Jeffrey Epstein's circle, but that he spent time with at least one, if not multiple, of Jeffrey Epstein's named sex victims, as well as there's discussion in the email that you just cited between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein about the fact that he had been the dog that didn't bark, and they specifically are talking about the police. So what this implicates is that potentially going back all the way to 2011, even after Jeffrey Epstein had been investigated for criminal activity, not just in sex trafficking, but also for financial crimes, which we know U.S. Attorney Acosta lied under his deposition about, that Donald Trump was being named by Epstein and by Ghislaine Maxwell as being the dog that didn't bark on them. And so the question is, what did Donald Trump have on them? Was he engaged in these activities? And why is Donald Trump calling Republican members of the House today and yesterday to threaten them to get off of the discharge petition? If he thinks that we should be focused on the reopening the government, then why is he personally calling Republicans and threatening them right now?
So help us understand this, because Democrats redacted Virginia Giuffre's name And I mean, I have to say, these emails.
It came to us redacted. No, it came to us redacted.
It came to you redacted. Okay.
Yes, so we don't even know. That is the claim of the White House. So that's something that we should be asking questions about. Yes.
Okay, really interesting. So
let's go back and show this. See, you have this here to where Virginia is here. This is a non-redacted, and then this is the redacted. So the Democrats definitely redacted this. They are the ones that did this. They're the ones that released it. So they're trying to do this hoax here. Like, you can see this, right? She's flat out lying here. She's flat out lying, and she's trying to get Trump in trouble when she's only just bearing her own party and her credibility entirely. This woman is a failure, and it's just disgusting, man. These people are absolutely abysmal. They're disgusting, and these people need to be out. They need to be removed from office, honestly.
And House Republicans came out and mentioned the redaction there. It is of significance that Virginia Giuffre, who was so vocal, right, and was not known for pulling any punches about what happened to her, did not accuse Trump of wrongdoing. And so I want to know kind of what you think of that, because there is this discrepancy. You have Epstein saying this in an email to Maxwell. Maxwell, you know, we know about her in terms of her credibility. She doesn't really have credibility, right, when it comes to being honest. I'd say people have the same questions about Epstein. Giuffre has said that there wasn't wrong. She hasn't claimed wrongdoing with Trump. So how do you kind of square what you're reading in the email with what Virginia Giuffre had said publicly?
Well, first of all, like I just mentioned, we don't know if the White House's claim that redacted name actually is Virginia Giuffre. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I think it's convenient that the White House is trying to choose an alibi that they think. And, you know, if you read the email, this is private correspondence between Maxwell and Epstein. Why does the White House know at all who Donald Trump was hanging out with at Jeffrey Epstein's house, who was one of the sex trafficking accusers, right? Like, this should be raising every hair on the back of your neck right now.
No, it shouldn't be, because you guys are the ones that manufactured this, and it's already been released. We already know the full information that's been going on here. There's a lot of Democrats and a lot of far leftists that are trying to peddle this and say, like, oh, Trump should be never near children. Yet, again, we have the redaction papers here. These people are idiots. They're low IQ. They have no actual intelligence. These are the dumbest people imaginable. So when we see stuff like this, you end up finding out that these people are just flat out liars. They have no credibility to themselves whatsoever, and it's astonishing on how you think these people can get away with this type of stuff, which they haven't. They've been caught red-handed of lying.
We don't even know that is who is named in this email. Secondly, whether or not Virginia Giuffre has accused the president of wrongdoing, what I'd like to say to the American people is believe your eyes. We have all seen the photographs of Donald Trump with underage girls sitting on his lap. We know that he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for more than a decade. We know that he has not complied with our congressional subpoena of the DOJ files,
which Trump out of his Mar-a-Lago after he learned about all the atrocities and things that was going on with Epstein. Not to mention, Trump also, another reason why he kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago is because he was trying to pick up one of the girls in his facility. So I don't know what you're doing here, but this is a complete, absolute fabrication. It's the same thing as me being a friend with somebody and finding out, oh crap, well, they raped somebody or they murdered someone. It's like, it's like I could be friends with somebody and then end that friendship after I learn something absolutely horrible with this person, right? Like, I'm not going to be friends with this person after I learn their actual past or what they've done afterwards or etc. Like, it's that simple. You can break friendships depending on what you deem that is immoral to you, right? It's the same thing with Donald Trump here. He learned what Epstein did. He learned what Epstein was trying to do in Mar-a-Lago, and he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. So it's really not that difficult to understand here. Like you people are blaming somebody for being associated with a person that they learned about and stopped communicating with. It's insane.
And we know that he is named multiple times in those files. So believe your eyes, believe your ears. And my question is, if they were not engaged in an elaborate smokescreen and cover-up, then why the hell is the president calling and threatening members of Congress for them to not take a vote on releasing these files after these files have already been subpoenaed? They are trying to bury this, and the president is personally trying to stop Congress from asking for these files again.
Well, I like how you say that, Manley Stansbury, but it seems like it was the Democrats, as you can see here. It looks like they're the ones that were blocking the Epstein's files from being released. So I don't think it's the Republicans in this aspect. I think it's the Democrats here. So what are you guys hiding exactly?
I do want to ask you about that, because it is unusual that Lauren Boebert is there for this meeting. But first, just to really zoom in on this redacted name here. So are you of the belief that the victim that Epstein is alleging Trump spent time with at his house is someone besides Virginia Giuffre, or could be someone besides Virginia Giuffre?
I do not have information that would allow me to answer that question. What I know is that we've received 23,000 documents from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, including this email.
Okay, but then let me zero in on this real quick. But can I just ask you this? So you do not have knowledge that tells you that is Virginia Giuffre?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so explain this again to us. You received this, and it is redacted. There is no name. And so you're saying it's the White House that's saying this is Giuffre.
Yeah.
And you guys can't even say who is actually it. Who you need to show, like, redacted name, all right? So you're going to just release it. Release it at this point if that was the case. But we already know whether you guys are lying. You guys already manufacturing a lie, a hoax. So again, I don't know what else to tell you, but lies are strong here.
Yes.
And what kind of questions does that raise for you?
Well, as I said, first and foremost, we have subpoenaed these files from the White House, from the Department of Justice. We have subpoenaed financial documents. We have subpoenaed the estate. And thus far, Donald Trump and the White House have refused to disclose the DOJ documents that are clear on what the FBI investigated, who was facing potential criminal charges, who was implicated, why the president is named in those files. So we don't know what is in the White House, DOJ, FBI files. But what we do know is that the estate has been producing documents in tranches, and they have been redacting those documents as they have been sent to the committee. I have not reviewed the original transmittal that came from the estate, but my understanding is that in that 23,000-page document production that happened over the weekend, that there were redactions produced by the estate. And so it is my understanding that it is the White House's response. They are trying to claim that it is Virginia Giuffre, and we do not know if that is the case or not. And while we can ask the estate to verify that, I don't have that information in front of me right now.
Yeah, you do know what's going on. You do know what's going on. And you're just flat out lying here. Like, you guys have all the information. It's all been there. You've been caught out in the lie. And this is just something that is going to continue happening here with you Democrats. And I think it is coming to the realization here that these people are just incredible. They're trying to ruin a Donald Trump. They're trying to get Donald Trump to fail at every single way. And it's just not working here. And again, as more information comes out, it makes them ruined. So I don't know what's going on here, but it seems the Democrats are in a desperate to win or do something, because they also realize that their 3 wins in very liberal blue places were not an actual win, and they see the writing on the wall here, where a lot of them are going to be primaried soon. So they're desperate and trying to get things done. So we'll see what happens here, but it ain't looking good for the good old Democrats. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.